in the basement, no longer alone, with my homegirl Terez on the microphone. Music, politics, or just chatting it up. Brunch in the basement, see that's what's up. You never know who might run through. Legendary artists or someone brand new. You miss a lot when you miss one day. At least that's what I heard somebody say. But it doesn't really matter what whoever says. It's always a good show with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Brunch in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Let's see who we got today or what we doing today or whatever it is, it's gonna be good. Woo!
I love you all so much.
Just whatever the first thing that
Adam and Eve.
we can see you now.
I know, and thank God.
Yeah, that's generally the response we get from everybody, but we keep it clean.
Hey, Rez.
Hey, happy Saturday.
Hey, Tammy, too much trying to do something.
Uh-oh, what you up to?
Why is that the response?
Pamela?
Because we have had blackouts in the past with that, when she showed up. But no, what I'm trying to do, because I'm having, until we're able to get it together and have us back up on what the hell is it that we need to be back? Oh, on Blog Talk Radio, which is where our international following is. Although we have a great following on YouTube, etc., I find more international folk listening to us on Blog Talk Radio. And Pop and I have been, this is not working out. I've been trying to experiment. I just don't really remember how I configured it. Actually, it wasn't even me. It was Tammy Too Much who configured it, or so that everything could be heard. That's how we interviewed the Pointer Sisters that time. They were completely on the phone. What's her name? There was another interview. The lady, she refused to come on. Legendary singer from, can't even think of the name of the group. Loose Ends? No, Loose Ends is Karen. I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to. So until we can get back there, I'm trying to put us on TikTok so that the show can, so we could tick and talk. However,
well, as long as we can, because they United States government done gave them an ultimatum.
Exactly. So, but if they promise to give some, what's his name, some attention, he'll keep it. But what they also want to do is some censorship.
Of course.
So, hey, Poppy Chulo, he's in Miami. Pop,
78 degrees. Getting ready to go to the
weekend.
Self-care weekend. Yeah, 78 degrees.
I feel that. So I'm just trying to get this in a good angle so that not all my business is in the street, and so that the TikTokers can basically just see you and I, and not all my business. But they will be able, the TikTok. So let me go live now on TikTok. And let's just see how it works. We'll try it one time. And run it up the flagpole and see who salutes. Uh-oh, that didn't work. Why did we? Okay, there we go. I just saw another button and pushed it just to see what would happen. Yep.
Word on the streets.
So for those of you on TikTok, look, I can't do it all. And we're going to go live on Insta, but we'll do that a little later on. Yeah. Oh, the words on the street. Hey, K-pop. Tammy too much. Yes, I am. So, but before we do all of that, I want to yeah, also Instagram will go on later. Because I want to make sure that everybody gets to see Kevin Bishop. I have to refer to him publicly as Bishop. And let me just tell you that bishops are just real people who have aspired to a higher calling. You know, we're all just, and you be munching.
Except for Kevin E. Taylor, he's majestical.
Yes, yes, yes. The Kevin E. Taylor. So, and Gigi is going to join us as well, just to catch up. I see you, G, and Gigi. I'm sure you can see yourself on, because Gigi's now watching us on TikTok. See, I like that, Gigi. Gigi be like on it. Okay, she be on all of it. She's like, "Where you at? I'm there," and I feel you, and I appreciate that. So before we bring Gigi on, I just want to touch base and see how you doing. How you doing? And hi, Karen. Hi, Rebecca.
Well, I think I, like half the rest of the free world, that needed a moment of comedy,
Yeah.
tuned into the Netflix Tyson versus Jake Logan fight
Yeah, that
last night. However, and I found that first of all, I was there because I thought technically that, if they were going to make this make sense, that Serrano and them should have been the main event. What do I know, right? But turns out they were the best fight in the building, quite frankly. That was a bloodbath, and shout out to Serrano, because I think she got robbed again. Serrano Taylor, I think Serrano got robbed again. Warrior Princess, shout out Boricua, Brooklyn. Okay.
Brooklyn in the house, and Gigi said yes, she did.
Yes. But the one thing I cannot. Now, first of all, let me just be clear. I am a Mike Tyson. That's my boy. Okay. That's my man's in them. All right. So, and there has never been another, I round numbers over. You know how you go to school and they teach you anything over 5, you round up. Okay. That's what I'm going to do for the purpose of this demonstration. Mike Tyson is 60 years old. Okay.
Yes.
60 years old. Right. Yeah. I'm rounding up because he is
5.8. Yeah. So, right. Exactly.
60 years old. Okay. No, you don't know. You've never heard of. So what you guys watched was history, right? And you watched a little bit of comedy. You know what I mean? Because I can't unsee that walk away after he interviewed with his son briefly. I can't unsee that walk away, Mike. Your ass is like permanently stained in my brain. Unfortunately, I'm gonna need some help for that. I just was not ready. I don't know who was, but that was the he had two things going on: the ass and the slap that was heard around the world. Okay. But Mike Tyson, pound for pound, undoubtedly was probably the best heavyweight champion we've ever seen in this lifetime, right?
Yes.
Quite frankly, it wouldn't matter what he does. I'm hoping that he got a percentage of Paul's purse and his own to walk away with. And I'm hoping also, from what I understand, he might even be invested in Paul. I loved the idea that Netflix did it. However, I do think that they need to make sure they can do their streaming live. And I don't know what that's going to take, but that's possibly why we didn't pay for it, right? Unless you had Netflix, you'd have to, go into I got Showtime and now I got to pay for pay-per-view. You didn't have to do that garbage this time because, they made it available for anybody who subscribed, which I thought was genius, and perhaps they knew about the fact that they probably weren't live ready, but it felt like, I'm a boxing enthusiast pretty much, and this was this felt more like showbiz to me. Like you're talking about, and the way that the fights are even being promoted today is so glitchy, so slick. I mean, you got the Instagram stats and the whole, like, the boxer, model, actor, shoe shine boy, like it's so many slashes next to, the names, and then you have their box, what they're there to do. That's the lowest stat of them all. And, this is a multi-million-dollar boxing match. And that's the least stats that you have. This one, you have a Indian actor that's a boxer. And I'm not saying, I'm all for the slashes. Like, I'm not saying that folks should not be multi-hyphenated. I believe in that. But I'm kind of used to, in the space of certain sports or sports period, that you're proficient in what you actually do. There've been a lot of folks that have talked about, we got Cedric the Entertainer, and we got other actors like, doing the Rosie Perez, who I love to hear, because Rosie's a boxing fan. I knew that from way back in the day with the Tyson fights, and just like it was Hollywood boxing bowl, but entertaining nonetheless for a Friday night. Was it enough to keep you home to watch? No, you could have went to, YouTube the day after, or maybe checked it out on Netflix once it landed there. I'm watching it live. The Serrano fight was the best fight, Serrano Taylor, and again, I believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, she got robbed in that fight. There's no, that eye was like, the headbutting, but that's what she traditionally does, Taylor, and they need to change that, because or the refs need to call it for what it is, like start deducting more than a point, and perhaps she'll learn how to focus on another way of defense. But you can't get in the paint and then headbutt and then expect to. That's kind of a thing that she does, and it's not fair and it's not safe for the other opponent. But quite frankly, Serrano fought her way through it. She fought her way all the way through it, and I believe that she was the better opponent, just like I did the last time, and they called it the same way. So, it is what it is. She's gonna get her though. She's open to a third round. Serrano's gonna get her. And that's that. Did you see the fight?
I absolutely did not
see
the fight.
Okay, what did you do? See, you did something. You're echoing.
Am I echoing? Oh, you know what? Hold on. Make sure this is all the way down. I'm not echoing anymore. So yeah, I had to figure it out. I want to know. I see that Donna Sue is watching on TikTok, and also Gigi. I see that you're watching on TikTok. TikTok actually just sent something saying that my broadcast couldn't go through because it wasn't original content. Excuse me. Excuse me. This is hello. Are you in there? This is original. But I realized that I wasn't plugged in terms of audibly. So Gigi, I can see you. And how you doing, Donna? Hi, Sherry. A lot of people joining on TikTok. How y'all doing? Gigi, can you do me a favor and let me know whether or not you can hear me and Terez only through TikTok? Because initially I don't think Terez could be heard. So Terez, tell me just a little bit more about this fight. Who won? All I know is I saw people all over the internet saying that Netflix wasn't working, and it was just a bunch of drama.
Yeah, I mean, I think people have to may have to consider that this was, I don't know if this was Netflix's first streaming live event. I believe it may have been, but they didn't charge you for it unless you were not a subscriber to Netflix. And Netflix has been around for a while. They didn't charge you for the fight, unlike some other networks that would you be paying their hot buttered prescription price and also pay for that fight, pay for that fight. That fight would be pay-per-view, and sorry, I don't care. It does not come with your subscription, right? So, and yeah, and it was buffering. It buffered quite a bit, particularly in areas that like, okay, you know,
Yeah,
but not to on this, and I don't know what other people experienced. It maybe did it once or twice, and then for me it was fine. But I saw other people complaining about it. But it's when it's when it chooses to buffer, like right when you got like because fighting is like you get an adrenaline rush in there watching the boxing.
Yes.
So somebody swinging back, get ready to punch, and then all of a sudden you're buffering.
Nah, that's not cool. That's not cool.
That hurts your feelings.
Completely not cool. Yeah, I was in my feelings. I'm still in my feelings. It's holiday time. It's an anniversary of 2 deaths. My brother and my grandmother. And my brother and I, one of our mutual loves was boxing, and he would have absolutely loved the fact that Mike Tyson was gonna give it a shot. And I just didn't want to watch it without him. I could have watched it for him, but I just, I just didn't feel like doing that. But thank you so much for the condolences, Donna Sue. Appreciate you. Yeah, so I was just kind of chilling, I don't know. And doing that kind of thing. Just chilling. But so they say that they can hear us both loud and clear on TikTok. So Donna Sue and everybody else, thank you so much, Gigi. And Donna Sue, everybody else. And hey, Brandon, we love you too, baby. Don't think I didn't see that message. I just want to welcome everybody from TikTok to WJBR Internet Radio, Brunch in the Basement with JaVonne and Terez. This is crazy that this is the very first time that the TikTok community is being welcomed in to the basement. So, I mean, and you all have a different Donna Sue said, finally, wow. Oh, come on now, Donna Sue. Donna Sue is connected to me on every platform that I have. So, but Gigi also said about time. Okay, all right, smarty pants. Somebody could have recommended it. I mean, shoot, y'all know me. I'm old and slow, but I'm down for anything almost, just about, But anyway, so basically, this is the show. This is what we do. And today we have a very special guest coming through, Bishop Kevin E. Taylor. If you don't know, you're going to know. You're going to find out because this man, woo, I just don't know how to say it. And thank you, Gigi, for that. She's letting everybody on TikTok know to like, share, and hit the hearts. Tap the screen, y'all. Tap the screen. Because it would be really cool if this ended up being something that we did every week and add TikTok to the fray. I don't know. Pop, if you're still here, you and I have some finagling to do, because even if we get now my brain is going Blog Talk Radio back up, I don't know if we can do both at the same time because it takes the phone, I think, to make that connection. But we'll run it up the flagpole and see who salutes. You know what I'm saying? I think the virtual visual might be more important, and TikTok has the capacity to go worldwide as well.
Can we do the clicks? Well, push come to shove, can we do the edit clips and upload to TikTok later if they can't do the live?
Yeah, it's just that it takes a while to edit. And if I gave the job to somebody else, which was recommended in the past, have somebody else do the editing. It's just, number one, not that simple. And editing is it depends on the seer. Like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Mm-hmm. So my vision of what should be left in as opposed to someone else's vision who may not know us and our dynamic. Like for example, all of those the Shaka Khan pieces on the
Yeah.
outro and the intro, which you and I find hysterical.
Mhm.
Somebody else might have who can, somebody may not get it, especially if we
Right.
have somebody who's younger. No offense, Brandon, to the younger statement.
Brandon ain't young. That's an old ass soul.
I know, but he's an old spirit.
That's a seasoned soul.
But I they may not get it. They may not get certain things, and I like to do it. So there are some things, like there's a couple of what do you call them? What do you call it? Rapid fires that are already up on TikTok. But what I'd really like to do and what I intend to do is start a WJBR internet TikTok page. And yeah. Hold your screen and send out to your followers. I don't understand what you mean. Are you saying that to me, Gigi? What time is it? Gigi, it's about time for you to come on anyway. Come on, y'all. Let's
11:21.
Let's welcome Gigi on to the stage here. Hey, Gigi.
Hey, she's inside. She's not roving reporter today.
See, and the people on TikTok get to see my DJ equipment and stuff. See, everybody don't get to see that.
Okay, so
Uh-oh.
I've been sick. Went to Texas.
That's for you.
Thank you. I'm a little deeper this morning. So I go to Texas for work. We have 2 offices, and I don't know. And I get out there. It's the allergies or what, but every time I go to Texas, I get sick. This time I came back cold, and of course, last night screaming at the game and with the cold, with the fight. This is how I woke up this morning. So y'all got a different kind of sound going on.
That's all right. It's kind of sexy. I could dig it. Everything, you put everything in perspective, and it's the way that it comes out.
That's right, baby.
As long as it doesn't hurt, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. So that'll be gone in a minute. Yeah.
Hello, Lisa. What's up, Pop? Oh my goodness. So I was telling people in TikTok, because ever since the election, I've been all on TikToks. I've learned a lot. When you hold your screen, it'll pull in, just push it in the center. It'll pull in all of your followers, and then you can just instantly send to them. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so of course you're not gonna sit there and do all the followers, because you might have like 5,000 or more.
I think I only have like 3,000.
Okay,
that's the thing. You get up to 10,000, you can monetize that joint.
I thought it was
1,000 to go live.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
So again, starting WJBR internet radio, I'd have to start like sharing
all
things
over,
and then trying to get it up. That would take a while, but yeah.
So just make sure everyone does that. Send out to as many people as you can as we're live, and each time go back in there. So make sure you tap that screen, like and share.
Tap.
So, Terez, man, let me tell you, that fight last night. So, I did a lot. We went to Highland Park. Jaji's cousin opened up his restaurant in Highland Park. So, we went and did the grand opening there.
Nice.
Then drove all the way back down to Sicklerville to the fight, to one of my divas' homes. And, the buffering was Oh, thank you, Pop. I might have to bottle this. Let me bottle it. I'm gonna have to
Yes,
bottle
the world without
it.
glass divorce. I'm trying to tell you, I try not to use mine, but when I do, things
That's so
happen. That's that silky smooth.
Ooh, come
Yeah.
on. So we went down to Sicklerville and we watched the fight, and it was a couple of things for me. The buffering was crazy, off and on, and you said it right in the good part. You be like, oh my goodness. But the fight, let me tell you, that Boricua was robbed. I was livid. Jaji was screaming in that basement. We was so mad. We're like, she's doing this on purpose. It was terrible, but
yeah.
it is what it is. But when Mike Tyson said that he had a biting fetish, man, we all fell out in that basement. I was like,
You've seen several. I'm assuming you're a boxing fan, and you've seen several. I have never, and I think it's connected to. It has to be connected to anxiety,
yes, it is.
which says a lot.
Mhm.
Because he didn't stop biting his glove.
No, he didn't.
So,
He was biting when he was fighting. He was like
right.
this.
Yeah.
Like, yo,
Yeah.
swing that glove out. Get that thing out your
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah. And I don't recall. I mean, even if he did it, because I mean, I heard the narrators talking about, that's part of his style. To which I haven't noticed before because
Me
but
either.
his fights haven't been that long.
No, they've been like 40 seconds, and then they were knocked out because he
Right.
had to go eat,
Right.
something.
Right.
And then
Right.
that one fight that was taking too long, he said, "You know what? The hell with that. I'm gonna bite that ear."
Okay, well, there's the biting right there, Terez. We just
Yeah.
missed the glove.
Now, Mike, you know what? Pound for pound, still, you're my man's in them. We go back like flapjacks, and no other 60-year-old man would dare to step into a ring.
No.
Much less, I appreciate the discipline of getting his body in shape. I do think I have my own reservations about what he could actually do versus what he did in that ring, even at 60. If you look at some of the training videos, and then I don't know what happens in between the snippets that they take, because even the snippets, I didn't even see a glimpse of that,
Right, me
Um,
either.
and then there was the infamous brace on the knee. So I don't know he's never going to make an excuse. If he steps in the ring, he steps in the ring. It doesn't matter. He can have a limb falling off. That's just the individual we're talking about because he's wired that way. But I would love to know if he was at, like you could be preparing for something and then the night of, like, you wake up and you got
With
Gigi's
aches.
voice on, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you don't plan for that part, you know what I mean? And then you still got to go and talk, you still got to pop up. So I'm just wondering when the smoke clears, I'll have more more to
That's
say
crazy.
about it.
That is crazy. So Gigi, right quick, and before I ask you the question, let me just acknowledge Brandon. Brandon, you were watching that. I did go live on TikTok the other day as a cartoon.
Did.
Yeah, because I feel like I need to start connecting with the TikTok community. And I was spinning some tunes. I was doing some DJing, but I didn't want people looking at me. Like I just when I look at TikTok and I see DJ spinning and everybody's looking at them and they just sitting there with the music, like why do I want to watch you? What you're not funny. You're not, and some of them are not cute. So like and they might play a song that I like, whatever. So I just wanted to try something different, and I found this fathead, and it was a cartoon, and I was smiling and singing the songs, and I was having a lot of fun. I don't know if you could tell, but anyway, yeah. So that was interesting. Pop says, shout out to the greats, Sugar Ray Leonard and the greatest Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali,
Yes.
absolutely.
I am mine. So I just want to ask briefly if there's anything, and everybody just hold on to your chairs. I know we all sick and tired of this, and we want to be mindful of the way that we speak. But is there
Mhm.
anything politically that we need to know that we may not have been paying attention to since Pop has outed you as our political correspondent?
Oh, so, and I was still looking it up in the book because I had to put the book back together since, like you said, I've been out of the office for the most few Saturdays. But I happened to hear something that was really intriguing to me. They said that in the Board of Ed, which I'm looking for, um, did you know that they're going to be mandating that our students take the ASVAB in public education schools, right? So I was talking to Jaji about that, and I'm thinking, wow. So what does that mean? Public school only, ASVAB required, preparing our children for military. Sounds kind of familiar to some other countries that kind of do that. Oh, but private schools, no,
Hmm.
they won't have that same requirement.
Yeah, it's the separation of the haves and the have nots.
I already said
Yes,
public school is more like it's in the prison pipeline, quite frankly, and they're grooming them. Um,
they are. They are.
Now you do
Uh,
have the right to still do, if people don't know, you can do the curriculum in homeschooling. Now I'm not sure if the same requirements won't be necessary for you to be, promoted, FYI, but this indoctrinated system that Jane Elliott often speaks of is not education,
mhm,
it's indoctrination.
right, most definitely. Um, since we're on TikTok, it's a little different. We have to be mindful of certain
Yeah.
language, words, trigger things that they will definitely ding you for. So I'm just gonna say in this, which I think in a way is good because we can get a little elevated and but this way you're more cautious in your words and in how you think and what you say. So this week has been very eye-opening to me in watching the kitchen cabinets open and things the things being placed in them. I really don't know where this is going to take us
Yeah.
as I continue to do my investigations on each of these individuals. Um, I think it quite interesting how one of them, who is right now being uh, looked at
Yeah.
in
I know.
Congress
I know.
for
Oh,
some essays, and
Yep. Yep. And
I
to be put in the position, and when you look at historically all of the things that the person that you're speaking about has been a part of,
yes,
suspected of being a part of, and then to be considered to
for
be in
this
a
position.
position to, look, if you're busted for robbing a bank, and then, or you're suspected of robbing a bank, and then they make you the bank manager, uh,
Right,
but basically I think that's the bigger picture
the
of the whole
plan.
thing. The
Correct,
whole thing in a
correct.
nutshell.
Yes, it
You
is.
know,
Always has been.
yeah, do what you will,
Hmm.
so there's that,
we
and
don't we don't have a barometer though. I mean, I think at this point, and I hate to sound crass, and thank you, Gigi. I will definitely use my words carefully here. You know, because I struggle. I struggle with that. Just so you know. So I often have to be reminded. So
yeah,
thank you.
yeah, like say
Yeah,
what you
me
need
too. I'm
to say.
standing for myself.
You know,
Standing for myself.
it's kind of like I have to save my mental health breaks. So to be at this point, to be shocked by anything going on is like, because if the barometer is who sits in the highest seat,
Right.
it, everybody else, it doesn't matter. It
Yeah,
really doesn't matter. Like I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gigi. I understand that they're not even going by the traditional background checks. You know, they want to do
No.
private firm stuff. You know,
Yeah.
so
Even the first time, people were not appropriately vetted. There was a
Correct.
bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Nepotism.
of course,
There was a lot of things that were there were some positions that were never appropriately solidified, so there were acting people for the entire time, and they were never, because those people could not pass through the appropriate um channels, even the clearances, getting the appropriate clearances, they would never, and it looks like this whole group, none of them would ever, well, maybe one or two would get through, but they shouldn't, you know. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I think this is just a blank wag at this point because whatever you think is supposed to happen, or whatever we are used to happening and occurring with some semblance of order. Mm-mm.
Right. It's not. We definitely need to be mindful of what's coming, paying attention as always, to each person that is being placed in these positions. And that's why P25 is important, because they've already, and now they finally admitted, some people, that this was always the plan, which we already knew, but now they kept on trying to downplay it. But now they finally said, yeah. But as I continue going through the list of names and their appointments and trying to match those up to who will be placed in those positions versus what P25 has in their projection of people they want to put in those positions, that will matter, because some of these people in here are just, you talking gates to the 10th power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're just at the basement, right? Of what is truly about to open up. These people are learning real quickly about effing around and finding out, you know. I've watched so many of the TikToks and YouTubes of people crying, and my family doesn't talk to me, and my
Wait.
job has
What
fired
what are they
me, and
crying for? They wanted family separation. They got family separation. Maybe they didn't realize it was going to be their
their
family.
family.
They knew family separation was a possibility.
Well, because they
So
didn't see it as them. I watched one where it was a guy was say a woman. Well, they kind of blurred out their voice, like changed the voice. So let me say that. But someone older, because they did the TikTok, and they must be a millionaire, and they said that they were leaving their family, like two of them. Initially they were on the will. And this one, they were literally removing them from the will and giving the money to a charity. And the other one, they removed both the nieces off of the will altogether. Um, and then the one girl who went kind of viral, her story crying about her mother and her grandmother. The part that bothered me about her story was her saying that she wore her grandmother, when she knew how her grandmother felt, she wore her grandmother's sweater to vote for this person. And I in my head, I'm thinking to myself, do you not even hear what you're saying? You just said you're crying, oh my gosh, right? The leopard is eating my face. And then you're saying that, then you're saying that I wore my grandmother's sweater to vote, and now they don't want to talk to me. Girl, bye. Like, go get the rest of your face eaten, because there is something wrong with you.
yeah.
It is really something wrong. The black gay guy who was crying, oh, I'm part of the MAGA nation. I know I love you guys. And he said all they wanted was my vote. I know that's not true.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
Y'all need to create a song. JaVonne, you gonna need a song just for those type of stories. Y'all know I need to do a segment on the effed around and found out segment, because let me tell you, there's gonna be plenty of them as the years go by. Plenty of them.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I have no answer for it.
Yeah.
Sad.
It's the selfishness that's really bothers me, and this so-called Christian beliefs. Like, how could you say, "Oh, I'm a Christian, but I think that what they're doing is right. The immigrants shouldn't come here, and he's right by throwing everybody out." Well, do you have people that came in? Oh yeah, but they could just apply later on. Dummy.
Oh, he's not talking about me. He's talking about the ones that, like, sweetheart, whether he's talking, and that's part of selfishness, right? Because I think
The
that people don't
selfishness.
even realize when they are being selfish, and in some cases, I believe the selfish is not a bad word, but in cases where you only have the capacity to think about yourself and how it impacts you, and not understanding that whatever impacts your fellow man, also you're in that,
I'm gonna tell you right now, ain't no way in God's green earth that I'm gonna be forced with a choice whether or not to have an abortion at this point. I done told y'all I'm about to turn 60.
I can't stand you.
I know. I don't even know how to respond.
Okay.
Oh my God.
However,
please complete that sentence. Because that cannot be.
I don't know. I'm like, wait, what?
That can't be it. However,
I can't.
Like, being 60 is the only reason.
Oh, geez.
Well,
look, we were like, look, me and Jaji were talking. I said, so maybe we might have to find some husband.
Look,
no, I ain't being nobody's handmaid tale. I'm too old for that. I don't know what to.
And if I do have an egg, it's probably scrambled.
Well, I don't have none. I have an empty cavern, so I don't know nothing about that.
Empty cavern.
Empty
cavern. That's it. So, however, I feel passionately about Roe v. Wade being over.
That's right.
I feel passionately about
Me
that.
too.
And while I'm on the subject, and I don't mean to go too hard on it because I have gone hard on it previously on this very show. And again, welcome to anybody and everybody watching from TikTok. This is your first time, so you may not know, but you'll find out. It's not a means of birth control. It's not. That's not the issue. The issue is women's reproductive health care. If you're having a miscarriage, if you have an ectopic pregnancy or a pregnancy that's not viable, why must the mother die? Why are you taking these lives and not giving them the medical treatment that is here in the United States? You barbaric sons of bitches. What is going on?
I was counting. I was trying to see how long it was going to take.
I think we need a timer too, because we're gonna fail miserably at this, and we have to accept the fact that all platforms won't take the content.
That's something.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay. No. I mean, but it's true.
It's true. It's true. I mean, under the guise that childbirth is the closest thing to death that a woman experiences.
Yeah.
And it does not matter. Nobody that is not born with that anatomy should be regulating anything. And if you are born with that anatomy, regulate your damn self.
Right. Stay out my vajiji.
Like
hey.
Since when? Since when? Like, it's like, and like we don't have a litany of other things we could be discussing, except for our, like, why is that a number one for them? Why is that worthy of a platform to run against? And why were so many women of non-color okay with that decision.
Mhm.
And here's my issue. I really have an issue. I've always had an issue with Viagra. Okay?
Yep.
I've always had an issue with Viagra. And let me explain why. Okay? Now, if you need mental health to keep your shit hard, then do that. Go see a therapist. That's what your problem is, honey. If everything works, if a pill will make it work, then up here will make it work. Go fall in love. Stop being aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Just fall in love and maybe your shit will work. And if your shit don't work, then keep it in your pants. Just be a nice person. Be a nice human being, and you may find somebody nice who'll make it work naturally. How you doing, Debbie? So I didn't say hi to you, Elisa. Now,
Yes.
other thing that I always was concerned about was, and I can't say the word because I know TikTok don't like the word. So grapes, right?
Mhm.
Men who have fascination with power and grapes. Those pills, make things last longer. That's not good. That's
Right.
torture.
Yeah.
And I always thought that those pills had no look. They talk about God. If God wanted you to be a father, he'd let your shit work. You get a tricky dicky. You could make it happen. If you can't get it up, keep it in your pants. That's all I got to say.
That's absolutely true, Nathan. Nathan just typed in Viagra was developed to treat blood pressure problems. Absolutely. And
Mhm.
but it's interesting how marketing is everything, right? So erectile
Yeah.
dysfunction can be a circulatory issue too. You're absolutely right about that again.
Well, then,
But but how fast that came to market and how big and how huge that IP up. That's doc for Viagra. I was sorry I missed it when it happened because anything relative to the male anatomy and being some
Always.
kind of because it's so connected into your mental health. Speaking of which, and this is a neck snapping segue,
and hi, Nathan.
but as it relates to there's this amazingly controversial art exhibit that is done by Sage Gallen, a friend to the show,
Yes.
family to the show, Sage Gallen, and it deals with that particular complex, um, the Mendingo complex, as it relates to
Mm.
society, and it is very graphic, but it is very stirring, and the conversations that happened in a room when that exhibit, I had the fortunate experience of seeing it when it was hung, and he went in. It is so provocative. It is not for children unless your children are that type, that can go in there and whatever. But it is absolutely
Mm.
it strikes that conversation about the what as it relates to black men too. Um how black men are viewed in society and where that comes from and the venom that's connected to anatomy, which is interesting, you know,
Mhm.
all kinds of conversations. The first time I saw it hung, it was in a room, majority men, you know, and boy, oh boy, the conversations were going
Yes,
like
I kind of
convers-
remember that one too.
do you remember
Mm.
that one?
Yes, we
Okay.
actually had him on the show around that time as well.
Okay. Yeah. Gotten great write-ups. He was like, the one to watch and but like I said, I'm art's supposed to imitate life and its time. And there are a lot of things that, are subconsciously embedded into this fabric of politics that we are experiencing today, you know.
Mm.
Here's a funny I grabbed for honey pack for my hot tea here at the neighborhood store. The clerk told me, no, that's not what it is. Well, I had no clue. It was for, whoa, a honey pot? A honey pack?
Honey
For the
pot.
for male anatomy?
Hmm.
Girl, they have so much stuff.
Yeah.
So much. Every
This,
commercial, the
this
carrot, carrot. You seen the carrot don't cross?
The bent carrot, bentcarrot.com. If you have a crooked,
yes,
yes,
yes.
whatever. But and I'm all for men getting help. To be honest, get help. If you need help, get help. But why are they killing women? I don't understand this. They're
Well,
trying to make
Tupac told us a long time ago.
Yeah.
Mm.
A long time ago. That song is so relevant today. Even more so than ever.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. But I do know what I'd like to do right now is quickly have I hope packaging looks like a ketchup pack. That's
A
interesting.
honey pot. I want to see one now. I didn't see
Right,
it.
a honey pack.
Yeah, I never saw that either. But I think it's time for us to have that Black History moment.
All right. Let's hit it.
Yeah. Okay, today I done messed up the whole thing, and the people from the people on TikTok can see my screen and how I be doing Tammy too much. That's funny. Anyway, they'll see it and you won't. Today, Minister Reverend Hosea Lorenzo Williams, leader and politician, died on November 16th, 2000. He worked closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Williams was a part of Reverend King's inner circle of confidants and lieutenants in the battle for racial justice. He worked as an organizer for their nonviolent protests, which often stirred the hearts of America and shocked people around the world with the blatant racism and violence that was often perpetrated against African Americans involved in the protests. Williams was with King when he was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, and was later elected executive director of the SCLC. He became involved in politics and in 1974 was elected to the Georgia State Assembly. Williams founded Hosea Feed the Hungry and Homeless, which worked as a major vehicle to feed the homeless on holidays in Atlanta. Williams was born on January 5th, 1926 in Atapulgus, I can't even pronounce it, in Georgia. And that's our Black History moment. And I don't know what I did with his Black History face. But knowing me, I'll pull it up eventually. And it's so funny because the TikTokers could see me going through the shenanigans that I go through to try to get things for y'all to see. It's so funny. It's so interesting.
Speaking of relative figures, the family of Malcolm X is suing the United States government for his assassination. There and the independent branches outside of the CIA, FBI is also NYPD, and they just with the led by Ben Crump, they have decided to not, and I don't think this was a sudden decision, quite like the King family, who also sued the government and won. That's not wide facts, but they did for the death of Martin Luther King.
Yep.
So now we have the Shabazz family, his daughters particularly, that are leading the charge with Ben Crump to sue the United States government on behalf of her father, Malcolm X.
Absolutely. And I just want to give you a salute, Pop.
Salute. I see you. They sell them in certain stores in Chelsea area. Okay. I just want to see, like.
Yeah. We're personally happy for you, Pop. May the soldier always
march on.
And
march on.
Hard.
So, ladies, I have a question. What did y'all think about that reparations thing this week?
Girl.
You know I like to stir it, right? Come on now. What y'all think
You just
about
made my
that?
shoulder hurt.
I bring this up because I have been on, I don't know if y'all know about fan base, but I've been on fan base for like a year and a half now. And there have been multiple rooms opened with the Black Power people about reparations. And we are Black and stick together and reparations. And it really has, after a while, gets on your nerve hearing it. Because, again, it's, okay, I'm all for it. But what's the plan, people? Well, how do we start? What do we do? Where it's coming from? How they pulling it? They got all of this that we owe, they owe us, they owe us. And so I thought it quite interesting when someone opened the room and said, so, reparations for YT. Let's go. All of those people in fan base didn't really have much to say. I didn't understand. So I'm just gonna ask you ladies, what do y'all think?
Well, Sheila Jackson Lee, rest in peace.
Yes.
She was the one that got HR 44 on the floor bill, right? And that was something she had been pushing for a very, very long time.
Yes.
And I'm not surprised that and I have not. I'm going to say this up front. I haven't read the bill, except to say that there's been some things that have been highlighted in it. So it'd probably be safer for me to read it and then have a comment on it. But I can say that my personal opinion is that anytime that there's something owed to us, or anytime there's something on the table about something that they promised, it always seems to be a reason why you can't, or how, what, where, and why. And I just have watched and read this company. Oh, that actually that was a slip, but company is the right word for the United States because it is a corporation.
Yes, it is.
Has spent and could always find budgets for military, and always find budgets for not just supplying our own military, but budgets to help your military, and you get $1 million and you get $1 billion. And it's then you talk about dismantling Roe Wade and dismantling diversity and equity inclusion. So what is it that you feel ultimately you owe? Because the fact that you owe is not for discussion. We're not even gonna let you think that that's for discussion. Only do you owe African Americans, if that's your choice and title, but you also owe Native Americans. Now, there was some brokerages of things that have been done for Native American communities that were not done for African American communities, and they still aren't done with them. So
Well, they don't feel that we are owed anything, but they feel that they are owed everything.
Sure.
Based on what he said, he's going to start suing the companies that have left others offended based on their feelings. It's always about the feelings of being, I don't know, wronged in some kind of way based on their race. Reverse racism, I guess.
Well, we still apply there, though. We still apply there. That means that when we go,
but no, they're not talking about us.
I know they're not talking about us, but the way he generalized that particular statement, if you're talking about discrimination, that's been our story, period.
Yeah, well, whatever money they plan on taking and then getting that money and then handing it off to those that have been wronged, you would think would mean us after everything that our lineage, generations of pain has been through, but no.
You know what my thought is? It's just more shenanigans. The whole thing is just a clown shit show.
Yes.
That's my thought. And there's a lot of battles to be fought. There's a lot of, There's a list of companies that we need to stop patronizing. Um, don't give your money to people who want to hurt you, and that may mean that you cannot have, that you have to suffer not eating garbage, like,
Right.
things that are not good for you anyway.
Yeah. Or
There's where,
convenient around the corner. You might have to drive a little further. You're right.
there's where we get into trouble, because right
Yeah.
there, because history's only shown us that economic um boycotting is what they listen to.
Mhm.
However, we won't stop buying. We won't. The biggest example of that we had is when we weren't even 2.0 yet, and that was with Montgomery boycott.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, in today's times, we could do it a lot differently and have more of an impact. That's the reason why they sent them the stimulus checks out during COVID, because the economy was not moving. And again,
Right.
after this on many, many shows, and I hope I don't get in trouble this time, but many, many shows before this one, that the United States government projects the urban community spending in the trillions. When I say projects, I mean this is money we ain't even spent. This is the money that you have in your pocket that you know what you want to do with it, but you haven't done it yet. So on the thought of what we're going to do with our dollar, based on them studying our habits.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, based on them studying our habits, on the thought of what we're going to do with our dollar, they project that in the trillions, and then they count the money before they actually get it.
And
Yes.
we
You're
give
right.
it to them, and we
That's
give it to them.
projection.
So
Yeah.
we have to change the way we spend our money, and that's
You're
that,
right.
you know.
And you're right. It's ridiculous. I was driving one day past an apartment place or whatever, and I actually saw a slingshot in a parking spot of an apartment.
Hmm.
I mean, that says a lot. Like, you don't have a home to put this thing in. You have it parked in an apartment parking space.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we got a lot of work to do in terms of educating our people, because I think education,
Yes.
again, I've always said that education is reparations, is the beginning of reparations. There's a reason why even 8% of Black women voted against their
Interest.
best interest, and that's education. So we got to start with that, educating our babies ourselves, because if
Yes.
we leave it up to public school, they'll be marching. Okay,
Yeah.
so with that being said, Gigi, I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show, love.
Love y'all.
Love you to pieces, and
Thank you.
see you next week.
Yep.
See you next week.
Love her. Love her.
Love me some Gigi. And now coming up is a man who, not just spirit and all that good stuff, that you need in a bishop, in a reverend, in a
human,
in a human being, but this man has a way with words, and a way to to explain the difficult in a way that makes you happy about, I don't know, the sad things. I just don't know. I'm gonna let you meet him for yourself. And I love him, and so do you. And his name is Bishop Kevin E. Taylor.
Happy Saturday morning, Queens. Happy Saturday morning.
Happy Saturday morning to you.
Ray of sunshine. Make it make sense, please.
Listen, so I've been listening since y'all got on this morning. We want to make it make sense, but we may not want to hear it. Y'all all right?
Yes.
We have been setting ourselves up for this for years. one of the pieces of impact that I think people can finally hear now, you can finally hear it, is you teach people how to treat you, right? And so we talk about how important we are. We say we understand our worth. We say we know who we are and we're willing to fight for it. But we sit in the room while our family eats Chick-fil-A. We sit in the car while grandma runs into Holly Lobby, knowing their politics, right?
Right.
And that then becomes, I'm just going to run by mama's house and get a plate because your partner can't come to mama's house. And instead of starting your own Thanksgiving tradition, they my family, and you go over and softly, 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 you say to people, under some guys, under the Black guys, under the family guys, under the it ain't that big a deal guys, that they have ways at which they can impact your life. I know from social media that the two biggest moments I've ever had on social media, I mean like big, one was, y'all remember I did a vignette called Wisdom Wednesdays that I did for years.
Yes.
My biggest Wisdom Wednesdays was when they were having the fight about transgender youth in the bathrooms at school, right? If I got 15, 20,000 views on the video, I was like, oh my God, that was huge. That was huge. On that one, I got 158,000 views. Right? It would have been nothing to stay down that course of stay in the controversy, stay in the dogma, stay in the dialogue that gets all these people, including a bunch of people making threats and saying ugly stuff just for the views, just for the clicks. And I was like, I'm always going to do what I do. And what I do is offer spiritual enlightenment for people. And I only gotten that because I needed my trans siblings and my trans sons and daughters and my trans grandkids to know that I was on their side. But I didn't stay in it just for the clickbait, right? But on this subject, I remember the post that I did in my social media history that got the most interaction, besides views, was a post, wait for this, when there was a rally, a gathering, a counter protest where Christian evangelicals said, these LGBTQ people can't tell us where to eat. They can't tell us what we do. On this day, we're going to all go to Chick-fil-A and show them that we stand up for them. And there was a Black church that took the pulpit out of the area and brought all the church members who had gone to Chick-fil-A that day and put them all like crowded in the pulpit area with the bag of Chick-fil-A, like, look, we on God's side or whatever that is. And I took a picture of those people and put it beside a bunch of white people at a lynching, a picnic. Hello? A picnic. And they were all smiling, looking at the hanging Negro. And I said, your racism isn't any worse just because it's chicken flavored. If you could read, I must have gotten 100,000 comments. I mean, blah, 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 blah. And so many of them were from Black people, like, how dare you suggest that these are the same thing? And I was like, tell me what's different. Tell me what's different.
Right.
So I'm saying all of this to say, the make sense of it is, y'all were talking earlier, that 8% of Black women who were like, I ain't in this. I'm in it for the money. I'm here to secure the bag. The 23% of Black men who were like, maybe it's 5%. It wasn't that bad. But the same ones who are like, I'm in it for the bag. I'm a rapper. The same ones who won't date Black women or protect them, of course, will stand on Trump's side, thinking I'm covered, right? Thinking that there are stories about, the sale of the lives of Africans, to white enslavers. There aren't stories about them saying, okay, we got all the people we can from here. Now we're taking you too, or we kill you. They think, oh no, I'm cool. We don't have these conversations. And so somewhere in the melee, somewhere in the discourse is lost repercussions. I've said, both of y'all know, I have said for the longest time that I have not got any tattoos because there's nothing that I imagine that I think or believe that I wouldn't say out of my mouth. But Bishop Taylor can't say fat phone. F around and find out. That might have to be a tattoo. I might have to just be an appointed tattoo because that's what's happening. The Rodriguez family in a Texas neighborhood who found out the next day when their friends said, nope, your kids can't come over here.
Yes.
And go back to Mexico. The brother who cried because he was at a MAGA celebration, and the guy looked at his face and said, We just wanted you for your vote. You'll never be a part of the MAGA family. He's like, I love my MAGA family. So the only thing we can do is drink your water, sip some tea, take care of one another, and let what's going to happen. Because the only way it's going to happen is the dude in front of the Detroit City Council dropping the hard R. You know what I mean? He's like, he feels empowered now. You want to take guns, take them from the people who are killing each other here in Detroit.
Yes,
Man, you came to Detroit specifically to buy a house, specifically because the area is downtrodden, specifically because you keep Detroit in brokenness, specifically so y'all can come through and raid it, specifically as a vessel of gentrification. So stop acting like all of those aren't playing a role in why violence is high. Don't do that. Don't make it seem like, because first of all, guns ain't 23 cents in a candy machine. Guns cost money. Where these kids who don't have money to put food in the house getting $1,000 for these guns?
Right.
Let's be very clear about the sprinkling of arms in the neighborhood, right? The only time they ever came out to black men and guns was with the Black Panthers. They're like, nope.
Some of these gun laws you want to see changed.
Eric Benet said that you want to see the gun laws in America change? We should have a Black gun registration day, and everybody go and register for a gun. They will change the next day.
Facts. I say that all the time. Facts. Want to see a change?
But people are saying it now in very real ways, so that, I mean, it's just like the mindfulness of my house is covered. Don't think you can simply walk over here and say something and puff your chest or do something, and I'm gonna cower or kowtow. At the end of the day, we got to be very consciously connected to where we live, right? When we talk about what happened and what has happened to the African American community, so many times people, forget because that's what they want you to forget. People don't honor that the reason civil rights pictures are in school books in black and white is so that it looks like it's a long time ago when color film was made in 1950. So all of those pictures are in color. They just don't show them that way, because when they put it in color, you recognize the coach from the Dallas Cowboys as a teenager. When they put him in color, some kid can say, "Grandma, that picture looks just." Grandma, is that you? When they put them in color, they look current enough for me to say, wait, I was 14. Wait, I was.
Interesting. I never even thought about that.
They did. It's a calculated effort. So first of all, make it irrelevant, then move it out of the curriculum. So wait a minute. So we can't talk about slavery, but we can talk about Christopher Columbus. You don't want us to talk about the destruction of Black Wall Street, but we can't talk about Jim Crow.
Right.
Okay. So anything that might have happened, because they always want to say, "Oh, I had nothing to do with that." So anything that might be in the timeline of they could have had something to do with it, or their parents. People wonder why he was after he's after the Department of Education. That's why, so they can literally rewrite history.
I was told
somebody said blacks came here as immigrants, and then they want to show the Africans and the Haitians and say, "See," and they're doing great.
Yeah. I was told by a woman who has a child in public school in Florida that she was really, really disturbed because her child came home talking about this woman who sat on the bus, and the laws were different back then, and she had to sit in the back, and she didn't want to sit in the back, so she sat up front, and she got arrested. And she said, "Was it Rosa Parks?" And he said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, it was civil rights." And the child said, "No, it was Rosa Parks." So she looked at the book and the assignment. It had no mention of civil rights, of King, of any of that, or even the fact that Rosa Parks was Black. I told her, I said, in 100 years from now, when all of us is gone, they're going to have King as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person depicted in the history books.
Be careful and see whether or not Juneteenth and Dr. King's birthdays disappear as holidays.
Yeah.
You have to take personal time.
Especially Juneteenth. That, something Biden just did.
And so, what's deep in the marrow of this conversation that, that I think blindsides us as Black folk, as queer folk, as other folks, is how much white people needed a white savior too, right? The whole idea that now there's, the whole Karen phenomenon, the white women coming up. White women ain't nothing but, white Karens are nothing but Mrs. Kravitz from Bewitched. That's all she is. I get to knock on your door. I get to know your business because I said so. And now to kind of institutionalize it in this way, that is, what are you doing here? Why are you here? We don't recognize you. White women walking up to people saying, to some Black man, I know the owner of this house. Why are you putting that on the side, that Black Lives Matter on his sidewalk? I know him and he's the owner. The guy who couldn't get into the building because the woman said, I don't recognize you. But what he said, what people don't remember is what he said was, move out of the way. All I'm saying is, you want me to prove I can get in the building, move. Then I should have a fob to get in the building, right? She didn't want to be wrong, so she stood in his way so that she was hoping she could provoke a physical response from him. So that then became the problem.
Yep.
She didn't expect a phone to come out and that. She expected him to push her so she could say, oh, Black man assaulted me. And that's how it happens. It happens in the re-triggering of these traumas that we have, where somebody is questioning you at the beep beep, the thing that comes up when you ain't stealing nothing. And you come out of the store and you're like, I like standing there. I'm like, come check whatever you have. Oh, no, sir, it's been going off every day. Okay, because y'all know I got better things to do than steal a pack of chicken wings, And when we live in a spot where people have to do that, then deal with that. Don't criminalize people because they came to this. But all of these things are the things we're not dealing with, right? I mean, the layers that people having to go through in the hymn, and how a white man is above the laws, not the law, the laws. He's insulted everybody in the zeitgeist, including white women and white men, right? You're not a perfect white man, a perfect white woman. He's talking about you. And yet, the whole idea that somehow he will make it better. Somehow he will make it all right.
I mean, veterans.
Thank you. Look, Ulysses put up that the views and opinions expressed on Live in the Basement or any content are solely that of the guest. My name is Bishop Kevin E. Taylor, and I approve this message.
Yes. He often has to do that for the show because, again,
and I respect it. I appreciate it.
But see, and the other thing is, we wouldn't invite you if we didn't want your opinion.
He does that for us mostly. It is interesting because I have to learn how to, surfboard, and sometimes my brain moves faster because some of these platforms that you want to reach folks on with messages, they will kick you off for using certain.
Right. Well, I mean, let's talk about that. That is why I spent the morning signing up for Blue Sky, Fan Base, and Spill. Fan Base and Spill are both Black owned. That's because after last Wednesday, my ex was gone, and I was like, because I was thinking about it anyway. Because I was, one of the things I noted is I was watching my feed, and the algorithm of it is every once in a while these hard other side, posts would show up, and I was like, I'm not following anybody. I think that this should be able to
why am I seeing this?
Because in the upper left hand corner, in the tiniest letters you can imagine, it said ad. Ad. And that's what I know you listen. And so that the man who owns it can bring back people whose accounts were banned, and then shift the algorithm, and then insert ads into your feed, even if it says friends. Is where we are headed as it relates to information, right? As it relates to, people started to get it when they acknowledged, wait a minute. Like I remember the day somebody said, wait a minute. All of a sudden, even though I'm not following this Diddy thing, I'm starting to get inundated with clips and stories like something happened. Did something happen? Nothing had happened. They just started to flood it, trying to distract the conversation. Every time there was a big uptick or or Harris had a big rally, other stuff came into it, and almost this Real Housewives of distraction kind of way, so that people wouldn't get past the but she put thousands of brothers in jail. Nope, 1,900 plus cases came before her. Only 45 of the men went to jail, and all of them were black. That's it. Here's the record.
But here's the thing.
That's a quick cleanup, but they don't want a quick cleanup. They want.
I'm having a difficult time understanding how they eat the cats, they eat the dogs, won out over, let me help you buy your first home, let me give you a tax break, let me expand Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Let's make sure our seniors retire with dignity, as I'm about to retire. You know, how did
Jay Strong
pretending wait, Pastor, I gotta get this out because and no offense to anybody, I promise you, but pretending to perform a sexual act on a microphone and admiring, and I'm all for admiring another person's body and stuff, but you this big macho man dancing to YMCA and performing fake acts on the microphone, but you're anti LGBTQ, and you have an issue with trans people reading stories to your children, but this is what you want your children to look up to, performing acts and admiring admiring people's private areas when they come out like in the I'm just saying, it just baffles me a little bit. It just makes
does it
not really, but I just
exactly thank you.
At the end of the day, welcome to America. Like at the end of the day, there's so many ways to dance this dance, Jay Strong. There's either he doesn't mean it, right? And if you think about the he doesn't mean it jokester part of it, it's how the guy got away with saying the island that's a barge of trash, and it's a joke. It's the idea that Andrew Dice Clay was at one point the #1 comedian in America. America has been doing this thing for the longest time when you get to say ugly things under the umbrella of
Archie Bunker, and I watched him and laughed my little something silly watching Archie Bunker.
And people say it. You could not make Archie Bunker these days. You couldn't do that. But people say that like they miss it. They say that like, remember and then you take that and you combine it with the very idea that white people needed a white savior too. And so you go to Atlantic City and you see a big name on the top of a building. You go to Vegas. And I took someone to see Adele in Vegas, and we stayed at the Venetian. We had to keep one of the windows closed because right across the street was, and there it is, big as a window. And it's like, good God. People don't remember, Christian folk don't remember that in the Bible, after we went through all of the deluge of king after king who was an adulterer and did people wrong and did dirty wars, and then the next guy cleaned it up, but then they killed him. Then the next guy came along, he was a dog. And then there was a point when Spirit was like, all right, we got you to the good land. We got you to the promised land. We got you to this new space. Y'all can all be free. Or you can have a king. And the people were unequivocally, we need a king. No, we need a king. We can't do it on our own. That idea that we want somebody to take care of us is why we're watching so many kids today be coddled to the point of crippled, right? They can't do deductive reasoning. If things don't go their way, they go from spoiled to suicidal because they don't have the skills that they need that included the stuff that people have made us feel bad about. Oh my God, y'all latchkey kids. Your parents and my mother was working. Every woman in the neighborhood took care of us. We went in the house and we did our chores. We couldn't come outside until Ms. Morales checked our homework. We couldn't come outside. And when the street light came on, we were inside. Like the ball dropped and dribbled in the middle of the street. But somebody shifted that narrative to make it seem bad. You have to give your kids to play. You can't scream. I don't put my hands on my kid. No, you again beating your kid like out of the rage of an oppressor. But sometimes your child's hand needs to be popped because either it's the sting of the pop or it's the pulling over of the pot where they get stalled.
Exactly.
Right? And then they're like, no, I can do what I want. And then they want to grab at something that you know they can. And first of all, I told you not to come in the kitchen because I'm cooking and hot stuff is on. Now I got you in the kitchen and you want to reach for stuff. Get out of my kitchen. Go sit down like I told you because I'm trying to save your life. And so because good sense got made to feel bad. Hello, somebody. Common sense not being common.
Right. A pop was punctuation. A pop was punctuation.
And the good thing, I remember my mama, right, it was a pop. And people want to make it seem like, even us. Oh, my mama used to whip my, right, because finish that story of what it is you did that time. Because for the most part, you got popped once or twice. Everything else was a look. From the choir stand into the congregation, and running up and down the store aisles, running around the doctor's office, all it took was a look.
That's it.
All it took was a look. And the problem is we softly allow for campaigns, y'all, that suggested whether or not you would vote for Bush because he's a guy you would have a beer with, whether or not he's a dude you would hang out with. And now we've got this person that people feel like, oh, I remember him from reality shows. I liked him. He's kind of funny, blah, 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 blah. And so that cult of personality took over. Cult of personality. And you add to that the ugliness of racism, especially when it's internalized, and the ugliness of sexism, especially when it's internalized. And you put out enough stuff about she ain't black. So how is this even a conversation when she went to an HBCU? Like, why are we having a debate that? So the debate became, if she was black, why didn't she marry a black man, right? And so, I got into one of those good conversations with brothers, and they were like, if she was black, why she married a black man? I said, if brothers weren't scared of women, how did they let her get off of Howard's campus single, right? How come some brother wasn't like, Kamala, we would make a team? How come some brother didn't Michelle her, didn't come at her like, listen, I don't even think I'm worthy of you, but I feel like we could build something together. You let her get off of the
and
one
it's
of the brightest
like
beacons in the world.
She never dated a black man. Not that makes any difference to me.
But I'm just saying, if the stipulation is around black people, Howard dated black man, did. How, you know what I'm saying? But you get this, but she with this white guy now. And I was like, well, that can't be the stipulation. Ladies and gentlemen, in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, the NBA, ladies and gentlemen, half of hip hop. If being with white women took away your black card, all of sports would be done. Or most done. Half of sports would be done, half of entertainment would be done if marrying outside your way. But one black woman is held to a standard that the entire culture is not.
But it's always a black woman is going to be held to.
That's why black women can say now, I'm fed up. Like, look, we're taking a break. We're done for right now. Y'all handle it. What does that mean? Brothers are like, why sister stepping away? We just getting it now. Like, it's the same way as queer folk when we said, you can ask me a question or two. I'm not going to do LGBTQ 101 with you. I'm not doing that. Do better. Just be a better person to everybody. I don't understand trans. Why do you need to understand it? That if you leave your job on Friday as Miss Jackson and go away for 2 weeks and come back Mrs. Washington because you got married, they're gonna change your name plate. They're gonna get you new cards. They're gonna change your email address because you said your name was Washington and it is now Washington. Period. Period. Period.
Right.
I don't understand. I saw you with him. Which one of y'all is the man? We're both men. You know what I meant? No, I don't know what you mean. No, I don't know what you think you mean. Unless you're asking us to.
You don't either. You don't know what you mean either. That's my response. You don't know what
you mean either. You don't, because even in that, ingrained in that, is some things in our own isms. Like, which one of you is the man? Is almost a which one of you takes care of the other. Which is what we don't deal with in some of this internalized sexism and women who wouldn't date, who wouldn't vote for a woman because they're like, women are supposed to blank while men do blank. There are even women working who have gotten on podcasts and said, if I found the right man and he said stay at home, I would stay at home. And it's like, well, why? Like, say because I'm tired. Say because I've been taking care of my family since I was 12 and it'd be nice to have somebody take care of me. Don't say it because you believe in some sort of anachronistic mastodon system that says you cook. right? Because I always tell these chicks, if he's supposed to be doing all these things, you know what you're buying into is you doing all these things. So you can't say this side if you're not down for this side. If y'all want to be Carrie and Samantha and Miranda going shopping, Miranda don't shop. Miranda don't shop. Miranda go to work. So even in your group of friends, there's a Miranda who's like, I mean, I'll take a man and a good man come along, but I got things to do. So all of y'all aren't even the same. So all of these all of these tropes that play into the zeitgeist that became popular movies, then popular shows because they're in your life more, and then become popular podcasts and social media, just reinforce it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like if she's Mariah Carey and the songwriter and the moneymaker, she can't keep a man unless he's younger and she's taking care of him. You know what I mean? It's that.
Right. Did you guys see the Martha Stewart movie that's I think it's Netflix?
It's actually on my queue to watch.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you gotta watch that.
I'm finishing The Year of the Jackal because it's like a brilliant black female lead, British, and then I'm watching Martha.
Yes. I think it's really interesting the way she was. Well, I'm not even going to tell you, but I think it's really it's important to watch that, particularly for women to watch it, because the idea of being a strong woman, and again, your definition of strong varies. It to be a focus, because here we have a woman that was more qualified than any president we've had
ever, served in all three federal branches of government
ever. Yes. And it just reinforced the fact for me. It just reinforced that this wasn't about, like, after a while, I got caught on the habit trail of trying to figure it out, right? And which is only pissing me off and exhausting me.
I'm about to piss you off even more before you finish talking, Terez. Okay. Think about the fact that both times Trump won, he won on the back of a woman.
Absolutely. Both times. Hillary, yeah, absolutely. So
a more qualified for the position woman.
Listen, and
this
then
woman was the most qualified ever, and then the next candidate was more qualified than her, and they both.
Right. And I've said some things that probably weren't too favorable about the internal support because, again, and JaVonne and I have gone back and forth on this, but I think that, in reflection, there's some things that if you want folks to know what they're doing, that they need to be elevated. If I were working under or with Kevin E. Taylor, right? There's some things that I'm doing in concert to elevate whatever we're doing together, that he edifies me, I edify him, and we edify each other in the movement, right? Biden did not do that for her while she was VP, period. Okay. Now, I'm not saying she wasn't doing anything because clearly she wasn't. I've been corrected many times. But at one point, JaVonne, you know this to be true. I was like, I'm looking for her. Yeah. Because I need to hear it, right? And I'm not saying that there's, and these are all hindsight retrospective thoughts. And when it comes out, it's easy. It makes her easy target to say, okay, where's she been? What's she doing? And part of that was the responsibility of Biden, or the responsibility of whatever press secretary was elevating what his mission and control was, to elevate what she's also doing too. One, I would think for safety reasons, because if all this stuff is going on, then why isn't it transparent? It needs to be transparent to the American people. Second, it's like I've already said that she's been the most qualified person on paper that we've had, period. And what this did was, after, and to save my own mental health and confusion, and and it's a tick because sometimes I come right back to the bullshit, right? But mostly, it just proved what we already knew for sure, right? Because you can't go back to not knowing that this country is probably the biggest racist country we got going, right? And the things that they don't want printed, you're still steadily acting out to date. So either you want it in print or you want it live. But either way, America's skirt has been up. It ain't about it. And like you said, JaVonne, he has been on the campaign trail doing so many things, up to and including egregious acts. What he didn't say, he performed for us. And it doesn't matter because it's never been about what he can do for the people. It's never been about intelligence. It's never been about any of the things that we have to validate for ourselves. It's only been about power, control, and optics because the idea of this country having an optic of a woman sitting at the helm, when there have been many countries with women before, the United States feels as if to have a woman at the head of this corporation is not something that the white men can bear.
Well, I
Period.
mean, several of them have come forward to simply say, and I mean, we're going to have this conversation, we have to have it. They've come forward to simply say that they have fought so hard because, I mean, just straight up now, we want this country to return to its European roots, and we want, you know, straight cisgender white men to be in control. And I mean, think about how quietly we let that football player say that women almost like y'all can sit back down now. It is being, this game is not being played. This is not about Trump. I'll say it because this tropian game is being played in every arena and it's being played in the spaces of get enough hip hoppers who got the bag, and then people who say I had the bag when y'all was sending me that welfare check called a stimulus check, and I was able to get some stuff that I wanted, and it secured the bag of the Kim Kardashian, you know, as sex vixen plays out. But you've not, but I've seen maybe one podcast interview where somebody talks business with Kim, like talk business with this businesswoman. It's like it plays up in every way you can imagine, so that the idea of doing the actual heavy lifting is the reason that Unity Fellowship Church has to compete with churches where people go and get their souls broken, right? And then people look for an affirming church, or they will say to me, but they don't preach about that every week. And I'm like, how many times must the master whip you before your back bends, before your back breaks? But we know it from church work. We know it. I heard y'all talking about this earlier. When I lived in DC, I lived up near Howard University and had to go all the way to Capitol Hill to the one Black-owned supermarket that we had in DC, the nation's capital, Chocolate City, Black-owned and operated supermarket. And it costs more. And I went every Saturday, period. Why? Because we don't look for discounts at Fendi. We don't look for discounts at Gucci. We don't look for, you know, when we walk around, even with your Michael Kors bag, people, I got this bag. Even if they don't have what the bag costs to put in the bag, because somehow this is a better status symbol. But when we do it, white people, you can go on the KFC 5 times and they left your fries out every time and you keep going back. Somebody don't hand you napkins from the Black restaurant and you cuss them out on social media because we white water is wetter. We haven't learned self-love at the level of, y'all need me to jump on your podcast? I'm jumping on your podcast. You need me to come over there and talk? I'm coming over there to talk. Why? Because you asked me to. Because you asked me. That's why. Because we're family. Because we're friends. And so ooh, I'm gonna say this now. We got enough time. I'm gonna say it now because I can say it. What we're finding out as we've messed around and now we're finding out is that the reason that we haven't gotten where we need to be is we haven't left some people where they said, let me go. They said, listen, I want to stay right here. I'm telling you, when Harriet Tubman's sister says to her in that movie, Harriet, everybody can't run, we didn't want to hear that. Because those same people would say, but we family when they need your money. The same man who can't bring his partner to Thanksgiving, you want some of our money to pay your bills. That ain't my money. That's our money. And we are not giving our money to you, but I'm your family. No. For this reason, shall a man leave his family and cleave to the one he chose. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. So they'll pimp you as family while they dog you as family. Because people have that emotional disruption that hasn't done the work to let people go when they said, let me go the first time. When they picked Chick-fil-A in your presence. When they went to Holly Lobby in your presence. When they said, I don't understand. When I remember saying on one Reverend Al Sharpton show, a woman said, but I don't agree with your lifestyle. I said, but I don't agree with the fact that you got 3 kids with 3 different fathers. Okay. What we're not going to do is make your agreement authority.
Woo! That's so taken. Thank you.
And so true.
Yo, hey, yo, you just made me run around this daggone house just now.
But look, so here it is. The authority that I'm coming into you pastorally is, this is the stuff of Jesus. This is the stuff. If you had kept your druthers about you, you would have been able to walk on that water. You thought about who you were and who you weren't. and you started to sink. All of that right there is the stuff of, but we're family, of the psychosis of, we broke you apart as families in the slave trade. And now that is a buzzword that gets you to do whatever I want, even if it's not for my good. I'm supposed to give you some of our money, but he's not welcome in your house. She is supposed to come take care of you because I'm your mother. That debate about, even I see that today, the debate about if your mother and your wife are both trying to get in the car, who should be in the front seat? And I was like, that's an ugly debate to be trying to have, because if that's your wife, right? If that's your side chick, that's your girl, she better be glad she in the car. Your mother didn't lay hands on her and plead the blood. But if that's your wife, that's a woman, the one woman you chose is sitting in the front seat. And your mama should know that. Right? The mama should know that. But if it's not, it should be the agreement amongst them, the two of them as women. Come on, mama, take your seat, right? And let it be that. Why make it this ugly thing where it seems like the mama is fighting over her boyfriend with his wife? That's not your boyfriend. Calm this down, right? But that's hard to do when it's so hard, because I know when I've seen that trope played out, it's rarely played out with a black man. His black mother and his black woman, right? Because a black woman wouldn't have that conflict with that elder in the space. They always play out with this blonde-haired girl, this Latin girl, and this kind of might be she chose me, and it makes it seem like you're not of them now. You're with me. That black stuff is not what we do now. You're with me. And so when we can't unpack that, we can't go all the way back to all the ways and all the times that people have broken your heart, all the ways and all the times that people have dismissed you, dissed you, dogged you, disregarded you, and still asked you to donate to them.
Yep.
Right.
Listen, I'm going to get an actual shingle for my actual house and my actual door, and I might get a gold-plated necklace that says I'm unavailable. Unavailable. Because you've got to begin to say that to people, because we want to do this spiritual work of climbing higher, going higher, less stress, less weight, less struggle, right? But we want all the same people to be hanging on to us. Oh my God. Like, God bless it. People don't know that, we tell the story of MC Hammer and how he took 90 people on tour with him, how he blew through $33 million because he was trying to be the savior of the block. Nobody tells the story of the fact that he's now a tech aficionado and probably has made 2 or 3 times as much money now as he did then. Right? Nobody wants to tell that story, because that means all the people I took care of y'all already. I did that already. Oh, but now you got new money. You got to take care of me again. No. When people have asked me, like if I ever won the lottery, I would get all my closest friends and say, bring all your bills. I would wipe all your bills out and say, here's $100,000. But then you'd have to sign an agreement that says, I will never come to you for money ever again. It's legally binding. It'll be a lawyer there, because you're already debt free. Now, if you want to be in your house, if you got a house, I will pay the house off. This money, you do whatever it is you want. That's yours. All the rest. Never talk to me about money again. Never again. Never again. Never again, because otherwise our relationship is shifted and I will have to govern myself accordingly, right? Oprah got that all that money from King World. She slid Gail $1 million. And that's what ended our marriage. That ain't what ended your marriage. You're sleeping with the woman that you work with is what ended your marriage. Don't do that. Don't do that.
And Gail reminds him of that every chance he gets.
He has to, because otherwise it'll be some other story about this black woman on national television who's Oprah's friend, who probably don't like black people. The stuff we like throwing out to Oprah and Gail. Yeah, she don't like that. Oprah, what is Oprah? I remember somebody saying something once like, "What has Oprah ever done for black people?" I was like, "You mean besides sending 50,000 of us to school, besides having a standing endowment at Morehouse? What do you mean? What is she? You mean the black woman she bought a house for with the 7 kids she would take? Which black story do you want? You're asking what did Oprah do for you, and you don't even watch a show. So that, even though I don't like you, Negro, you're supposed to find a way to take care of me."
Pastor, that's something that right there that you just hit on. When people say, "What has Oprah ever done for me?" What was Kamala doing when she was
for me?
What
But Trump wasn't asked that question.
Trump
never.
But
Never.
But the same thing is, nobody asked what's the guy with the fly on his head? The one that The one that they said hang, what's his name?
Pence.
Yes, there you go. Nobody asked what he was doing. Nobody asked. Black women are held to a different authority. Nobody asked, what did Gore do? Aside that we know that he was into the EPA because he ran on that when he was
JaVonne Armstrong. In order to get to answer to that question, you have to be willing, here it comes, to do the deep dive, here it comes, bite down, here it comes, on who would ask that question in the first place.
But
right, you understand me? Only black people ask them, what have they done for me question.
But I don't understand it. And here's the other thing. And you know, when I'm on social media and somebody will comment and they'll say something that's one of those talking points from the other side that's a lie, that everybody who knows something knows it's a lie, and I'll type in what really happened, they'll say, show me the proof. And I'm like, you can find out just like I found out. The thing is, if we're interested, why are we not researching?
Because we're not interested.
If we truly want to know the truth.
But we don't really want to know the truth. D.L. Hughley is a man who will forever, like the next time he goes on tour, I'm coming to find him.
That's
because D.L. apologized to Vice President Harris after he did his research.
Right, but
I found out that she had 1,937 cases coming for her. Only 45 of them went to jail, and not all of them were black men.
She told him herself, research me. She told him herself. Now,
but he had to tell her to her face, I heard you sent a bunch of brothers to jail. Light-skinned woman, not married to a black boy. I heard you ain't like brothers.
Sure did.
I never heard a black woman say she ain't like a brother. I've heard black men say they don't like black women. I've heard it. I never heard it. Sisters can tell you why they don't date black men anymore. Sisters can tell you why how black man broke her heart. Sisters can tell you she fell in love with who she fell in love with, which I've never heard a black woman say, I can't stand black men. She didn't say I can't stand it. The women I've heard talk about black men got 3 black men in their lives with babies. They don't like them, but they still there.
We don't get that luxury. Yep. You're right.
The asking of the question is the work we have to do spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically, because in there is what we think of each other. In there is how we hold each other in regard, right? You know, I'm telling you, as a black man, what it looks like to have black men look at me funny when I say, hey, good morning, King. And the brothers are like, where you get that from? One brother said he thought I was trying to sleep with him because I called him King. I think I was walking. I didn't even get a good look at you. I don't know, but because he came back, he's like, well, where'd you get that from, King? As I've been doing it, you know, the last several years. Like my brother, Akintola Anif here in Newark said that to me the first time. I got it in just social discourse. What's going on, King? And I was like, wait a minute, I like that. And have held on to it ever since. And, you know, he's a Muslim brother. He's an artist. He's a photographer. He's brilliant. And then he at one point had a stroke and we were at an event and he asked the queer identified Christian preacher to pray with him. His girlfriend, yeah, he wants you to come home. That for me is what we're talking about. That in spite of what they tell us about us, what did you say about me? You know, when Jesus asked Peter, who did the people, what are people saying about me? Some saying you're Elisha, some saying you're a prophet. They're saying all sorts of stuff about you. He said, Peter, who do you say I am? Simon Peter, who do you say I am? He said, I say you the son of the living God. Boom, that's it. Because only my Father in heaven could have told you that. Now let's build on that, what our relationship is. And so what I'm looking forward to is what we build while the rest of the world is spinning again. Because, you know, ancestors and elders have reminded us, we've been through madness before. Right? We've seen craziness before. What are we building in the meantime? Right? How much? What have we learned in the meantime? Right? I know what it's like to be watching politics and go, okay, well, I've gone from 10% to 15% to 20% in my 401k. Because what I know, while y'all got us doing us front-facing craziness, you're making money behind the scenes in your 401k. Because all of this is driving the market up. So let me take some of the money I'm wasting on other stuff and put it in my 401k. Let me get some insurance policies and put them over here. I had to have a conversation with my son. I was like, son, I sent you an email. It includes the mausoleum I'm going to be buried in. It includes the policy that Carol Wiggum has for my funeral. It includes your policy. It includes my policies for your children. He's like, Dad, why are you talking about that? I said, so you know where it is. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm in the best shape of my life. I need you to know where it is. so that when it's grieving time, 20, 40 years from now, you just grieve it. Because all this is taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's it. I want you to know that life, that your father had capacity to take care of you and has done so. So you don't have to worry about me when you think about, I hope Dad's okay. But if I come to mind, come check on me. Pick up the phone. Don't just text me, right? So I love it now that sometimes my son is walking home and just FaceTime, 20-minute walk before he gets to the subway. All right, Dad, I'm going underground. I love you. Love you too.
And please tell the young king JaVonne I said
Young
hello.
King in the three.
I am so proud of him.
Jaden will be 18 her birthday.
Oh my G. OMG. Jaden 18?
She will be 18 March 31st.
Oh wow.
Grayson just turned 4. Adina, who looks just like my mama, just like my mama.
Oh my.
It's just turned 2. So all of this, right? Like at the end of the day, what this Trinity is right here, this is a Mo coming on, what this family means to me, right? This is the stuff of
wow.
I need somebody to talk to, pick up the phone. This is the stuff of, hey, I'm having a day. I was, Jay Strong called me about this last week, and I'm proud to be able to have said, Jay, I ain't got it yet. Pastor, I need a word. I was like, I ain't got it. I ain't got it yet. I'm going through the same personal grief. And my political pundit in my life was also my best friend David. So that I didn't get to go through this campaign and conversation with David.
Yeah.
And David died right around the election. David died November 9th. And here we are. I was like, I'm barely standing upright.
Exactly.
I have to be able to say that and not be like, praise the Lord, everyone. Praise the Lord.
And thank you for that. This is what I'm learning actually right now. And the more examples I get of that from people that I'm connected to, the better I am for it. Because sometimes I still struggle in the area of what else can I do. And right now, I just don't have the bandwidth to connect with people that are committed to their misunderstanding. So it's just like on every level, So
on every level. Because one of the things I don't want people to lose as we go into whatever this is that's coming in whatever ways that people are trying to shape it in their brain. Please don't, with the old song, please remember what I told you to forget.
Yeah.
What this stuff is trying to get us to forget is how we made it through a pandemic.
And who we are.
People was dropping by people's houses and leaving food on the doorstep. Boom, boom. People would go to text somebody and push the phone, and next thing you know, you ain't even a phone talker. You on the phone with somebody for 4 hours, right? And now you're looking like, oh my God, I look like my mother. I'm stirring up something to eat on the phone, watching the television by myself, because we knew how to survive these things. And so to be able to say, to be able to do a 4-hour conversation, to be able to hop on, FaceTime and go, oh, now we got the Jetsons technology. There's my family member on the screen. Hi, baby, show me the kids. Bring me the kids. When we could do these things, and then as we were coming out of it, there were church members who said, like, Pastor, I miss you. And I was like, well, come over for dinner. I had you and Mo over for dinner. I was just the pair of y'all, be the 3 of us in the house. We got safe distance. Come over for dinner. We got to get back to that, right, Brandon? We have to get back to the things that allow. We got to get back to rent parties. We got to get back to bringing somebody a plate. We got to get back to remembering that, baby, you all right? I'm all right. Baby, you all right? I'm gonna be all right. Baby, you all right? We got to get to the point that we go, listen, you all right? Checking on you. What you heard? Because people, what you heard?
Yeah.
They don't know what to do with what you heard. The voice of God. I heard the Lord tell me to call you. That's all I heard. That's all I heard. I don't even know what's going on for you to be freaking out like this. But now I know something going on because I heard you.
Yeah,
I heard you.
And you got to check on your strong friends.
Check on your strong friends. If you want the rest of your life to be anchored, check on the strong ones because they're holding everybody else up. But we got to that, Jay Strong. You say check on your strong friends, and people start to say, well, everybody needs to be checked on. I was like, don't do that. Don't do that. Your little broken wing behind is always checked on, always tweeting sad, always talking something. Talk to the people who talk you off the ledge.
There you
Check
go.
on the people who can slide you $50 when you don't ask because they know you faking it. Check on those people. Stop acting like every child doesn't participate the same. Every child doesn't deserve the same trophy. I like it when you get your award in social studies. I get mine in math. He gets his in woodshop. Because now if I need something built, I know exactly where to go. I'm not going to go to IKEA and act like, on my way back from IKEA, Daquan, hey, I'm coming pick you up. You got the day? Because I need you to put this stuff together. And he goes, zit, 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 zit. Yeah, man, it's $100. That's too much. No, it's not, because somebody else would have charged me $100 to do it. Ain't my fault you can do it in 10 minutes.
Right.
It's my blessing.
Right. Oh, Jules, and just
all of this is making the world like this, right? To remind us to do this. And as Brandon said, we got to get back to that. We got to get back to check in, check on. We got to get back to, hey, y'all, I ain't seen you in a while. Hey, y'all, I ain't seen you in a while. Come over. What you need me to bring? And I say, you know what? I'm cooking, so just bring some wine. Pastor, you drink? Jesus' first miracle was turning water to wine. I don't drink. I like wine. Drink ain't go to the spot and get 5 glasses of Hennessy till I black out because I hate my job. That ain't drinking. That's drunk.
That's drunk. Exactly.
I like wine. The three of us can do one bottle and have to split it over more than one glass. But in the space, we're laughing and talking and say, well, let's put a movie on, and it's 11 o'clock and I need to go home. I've been poured into in ways that fortify me. I've been poured into in ways that lift me back up. Because life is going to shrink you down. It's going to knock the wind out of you. But we always have to have the things that pour back into us, right? I love, and Jay Strong will tell you this, I love it that people say, I heard Natalie Cole, and I was thinking, you instantly came to mind. Oh, thank you. Natalie been gone almost a decade. But I've had DJs say, Natalie Cole came in here once to do an interview, and I said, hey, Natalie, man, this guy I know named Kevin. She said, Kevin Taylor. If my reputation will always include Natalie Cole's name tag to it, then God bless it.
Amen. Go right there.
Because then you heard I was depressed, or you're thinking about me and my best friend and you don't know what to do, just go on to YouTube and go, La Costa. Let me share this. And can you imagine that you don't know where I am, you don't know what I'm doing, but my phone bings and La Costa pops up?
And do you know, and I think you do know this, both of you know this, people send me Shaka Khan stuff randomly, and it's always in those moments. It just happens to be in those moments.
I did what Spirit told me to do, and I did it in a way I knew it would work for you.
Yep, and keep the Shaka Khan coming, y'all, because I need her.
See? Soundtrack of our lives.
This morning before jumping on, somebody, they do that thing, the 9 people grid, and it says
yes.
You only see 3 of these in concert. How about I didn't only say, my 3. I went down the list and liked everyone that had Natalie in. I was like, ooh, and then I started to get full at how many lists she was. I was like, Natalie. And then one person was like, only Natalie. And I was like, oh, Lord. I mean,
yeah.
It's that. It's because we wonder how we get through storms like this.
Yeah.
By being at church and stomping when the musicians don't show up and clapping, by sending one another songs, by picking up the phone. This is how we're going to get through this. The political pundits will tell us what petitions to get onto, will tell us what we need to know when midterms come. That's somebody's lane. That's why I'm down with Keith Boykin. That's why I'm down with Don Lemon. That's why I pay attention to my brothers who are in that field. Dr. David Johns, I pay attention to what they're telling me to pay attention to because it's their time to drive. It's their time to drive. So when they come to me and say, Pastor, I need a word now. All right. Can I call you? Yeah, sure can. Because that's my lane. That's why we stop all trying to be the same thing. If we stop all trying, hey Brandon, there will never be another like Lyrically Speaking. But now what with Kevin E. Taylor's coming back? So me and Savoy and Mark just had a meeting about that this week.
Nice.
We have to have these conversations, and if God has given me a place and a portal to have these conversations, now what? It's just such. It was made for such a time as
exactly.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yes.
Today, Bishop Kevin E. Taylor poured into us on Live in the Basement. Thank you so much. And yes, thank you for each and every yes. And everybody, hold on, keep doing what you do. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
Can I say one last thing, though, too? And this is under the spirit of them trying to abolish all of the books. I'm not going to pretend I don't see that slash, which of course I know that you're an author too. But can you tell folks where, what your books titles are so that they can go get them for their library? Because I understand that folks are preparing these libraries for when these books are banned.
So 10 titles: Unclutter, Cleanse Your Spirit, and Claim Your Stuff. Jaded, my first Black gay love story, which if even Marcel has her way, will also be my first motion picture. Its sequel is Envy, The Deepest Shade of Green. It's Meet the Hendersons. You meet Mr. Henderson in Jaded, and now his love story is told in his own book, Meet the Henderson. And Because He Lives, which I've had several friends call me and cast the movie. So it's time for some action. Get off your ass and do something, which is an assembly of tweets and spiritual sayings and other things that really help the soul. Never Too Much, which is my big life, my story of big words, big words, big dreams, and an audacious big life. And then the latest one, which is Selfish, Get Full of Yourself without guilt. And it's accompanying journal. So Selfish is 2 books, and it comes with a journal. And I did a guided journal because my young people are like, it's got to come with a journal. All of them are at kevinetaylor.com. If you look for at Kevin E. Taylor in most places, I am there. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram, on Blue Sky now, Fanbase now, and Spill, which is the last 2 are Black apps. And if you see somebody on X that is Kevin E. Taylor, it ain't me, because I left that on last Wednesday.
Amen. Go right there.
So I'm trying. And just real quick, Rez, what happened is I did this first book, Unclutter, Cleanse Your Spirit and Claim Your Stuff.
Yes.
Self-published, self-promoted, and then was doing 2 years because I really did write this thinking it would be the only book I ever wrote. And people would stop me on the streets, in DC and Philly and new places I had sold the book. People that bought copies for them, and they would say, "I'm still struggling with this. I get it, but sometimes stuff is so hard to put in the application." And so what I did was essentially take some of the major lessons from Unclutter and put them in Joshua's life in Jaded.
Nice.
Brokenhearted, but what do you do if you're through with love and love's not through with you? You got some work to do. So we walk through the work, and that's what I realized was happening. Was showing people how to do the work through a character.
Nice.
So in there he has a moment of breakthrough in an affirming church, because we're not disconnected from God. Some people robbed us of God. We didn't leave God. People
Amen.
say, back up. The Lord don't know you. It's like, well, who saved me when I almost killed myself? Who covered me when I thought I wasn't worthy, but something woke me up in the morning after I took all the pills? That wasn't God.
Right.
So God had to take me through the death of Aaliyah on August 25th and being on a plane on September 11th, 18 days apart. I was supposed to be on this plane. The plane I was supposed to be on from Newark hit Tower 2, but Penny McDonald changed my flight the day before. And people had to say out of their mouths, God must have a work for you. Black gay man, still doing Black gay man. But all of a sudden, they've got world examples of God.
Amen. Well, thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Jay Strong. I love you to pieces and all your pods. Love you, Rez. Love you, Mo.
And as Brandon said, amen and wow.
Listen, I just want to keep having this conversation. I'm looking forward to having each of you separately on Now What, because at the end of the day, what that format is going to be for me is these conversations in real time. Like with real people to be able to say, now what? Because it's not just now what are we going to do? It's now what am I going to do? What am I intended to do? Because how is Kamala or him going to change what you're supposed to be doing?
Exactly.
Right. That part. Ooh, and I loved your reimagined series too. That was
that was that working with Marco Hall, a designer. One time, robes. Jay Strong would tell you there was all, Pastor got to wear the robe. I'm not a robe wearer. I was like, and it was like, oh, you want me to wear the robe? And then the robes I made were too much. And it's like, now you're doing too much. And I was like, wait a minute, am I too gay for y'all? What's happening? And so then as we, then not having walked into any of the offices, by anything other than the push of God, Bishop, I was intentional about. Like, I want to do whatever it takes to move this work forward. And, and that became then cultural expression. And I thought, yeah, we talked about cultural expression as we move forward. What does that look like if all of the parts of me, not just the spiritual, but people in entertainment, people in fashion, people in, what does that look like? And so I talked to Marco Hall about it, and we went purple fabric shopping.
There you go.
So it became the whole idea of doing this editorial essay to get them, as Patty, Nona, and Sarah said, give it to them and make them look, and then they'll read. Then they'll pay attention.
So it looks like you.
this a bit. Oh,
It looks like you. Looks like you.
Majestic.
That's what it is. It's like give it to them, give them a look at it, and then they go. You know, I remember, and I swear I'm gonna shut up. I remember going to a church once because one of my members had died, and because it was the woman we were burying was her mother, you know, the pastor wanted me to sit in the pulpit, and then because that was her only daughter, he wanted me to, say something, acknowledge me, say reflections. And as he leaned into me as I was walking to the mic, he said, "You got 5 minutes," and that kind of don't do too much, don't try to take. I was like, "Oh, 5 minutes, fine." I sat back down in my seat in 4.5 minutes, and every usher was up and fanning. Three was people running, the choir was shouting, and he was just like, "You got to come back for revival. You got to come," because I was like, "I don't know what you thought I was gonna do," but that's what the Lord said, right? How many times somebody's been like, "Well, what does that mean? Who are you? What kind of call is on your life?" And then they go, "Praise God, where did that come from?" Because we are not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's a both and, not an either or.
There you go. There you go, right there. Thanks again, Pastor, Bishop.
I love you, Jay Strong. Anytime, any place. Anytime.
Love you, love you, love you, love you.
Love you, love you.
Everybody have a great weekend. The rest of it, enjoy. He just bounced. Love you, Rez.
And I love you too, babe.
Talk to y'all next time. Do something good for yourself.
And others.
Peace. And others.
Hi, everybody. You're in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. This is Melba Moore.
Still in the basement, no longer alone, with my homegirl Terez on the microphone. Music, politics, or just chatting it up. Brunch in the basement, see that's what's up. You never know who might run through. Legendary artist or someone brand new. You miss a lot when you miss one day. At least that's what I heard somebody say. But it doesn't really matter what whoever says. It's always a good show with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Brunch in the basement with JaVonne and Terez. Yeah. Let's see who we got today. Come on, everybody's today. A friend in my head. I already know everybody. Whatever it is, it's gonna be good. One day I'll tell you about me and Shaka Khan, but you know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but she doesn't know anything about it. But anyway. No, she doesn't. She wasn't even there actually. But anyway.
Bosses though, Jay. Like, she got
I'm gonna send y'all some. I'll definitely get an address. I'll send y'all out.
You can send me some cologne, because I mean, you know. Yeah. Just in case I should meet Shaka Khan, I want to smell really, nice.
Oh God.
Okie dokie, babe. Whatever you say.
The time,
and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you. This part, that little piece, I'm just gonna keep and play it all the time for myself. But no, I'm just teasing.